PNC News First is presented by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Pizza Hut, we're taking pizza to where it's never been before. Taco Bell, the only place where you live Moss. Colgate, the #1 brand recommended by dentists. And IT&D.
PNC News First, broadcasting live in high definition from Tumon, Guam, on KEQI and KTGM, and on KPPI on Saipan. Here is your PNC News team.
Hafa and good evening. You're watching PNC News First. We are live from the Broadcast Center, Rotoconda. I'm Jolene Toves. Thanks for tuning in. Topping our newscast tonight, after identifying the first locally acquired case of dengue fever on Guam, the Department of Public Health and Social Services said it is implementing a heightened response in preventing further local transmission of the virus. Here's more from PNC's Luella Lucinio.
According to Public Health, an alert doctor reported the suspect case of dengue fever in a patient with no travel history outside Guam on Tuesday. This was confirmed by laboratory the following day. Public Health said this is the same type of dengue that caused outbreaks in Yap, Palau, Marshall Islands, and the Philippines. Following the confirmation of the local dengue case, Public Health Director Linda Denorsi said the department immediately activated its arboviral disease response plan, which includes establishing a command post and enhancing surveillance for dengue fever. Denorsi said Public Health also wants to do vector control by fumigating areas that have a risk for mosquito transmission.
We're updating our dengue case management, and we're going to do massive community outreach education for patients and the whole community to prevent breeding grounds on the mosquito. And just to give you a heads up, today, for example, our entire crew, and with the help of several government of Guam agencies in line with the Micronesian Island-wide Cleanup Day, we are going to be cleaning up areas within the 200-meter radius of where the particular infected person resides.
Meanwhile, according to territorial epidemiologist Ann Pabutsky, while dengue viruses are spread through the bites of infected Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, the species has been eradicated on Guam after World War II. However, Pabutsky said the ecological niche was filled by the Asia tiger mosquito. In an interview with KF7's Andrea Polacani, Dr. Michelle Yamamoto, a specialist in infectious diseases, mentioned several basic tips for dengue prevention.
Since it is transmitted to humans by the bite of an infected mosquito, the best protection remains to be to eliminate mosquito breeding sites and to prevent mosquito bites. Basic things like wearing long-sleeved, light-colored clothing and application of the mosquito repellents that we actually can buy from the stores on island.
This is the first locally acquired dengue case detected on Guam in the last 75 years, as all previous cases were imported from off-island. According to Public Health, all healthcare providers have been asked to be on alert for additional cases of dengue fever. Turning our eyes to the courthouse, it appears that Mark Torrey Jr.'s good behavior over the last 4 years has paid off, as the court has agreed to modify the conditions of his release. Mark Torrey Jr.'s good behavior is just one of the reasons the court has granted a motion to modify his bail conditions. Torrey was placed on house arrest and released on a $250,000 property bond after he was accused of shooting fellow police officer Albert Piolo after a night of drinking in 2015 ended in tragedy. Since then, his case has gone through trial and, following an appeal, had the convictions of negligent homicide and aggravated assault overturned by the Supreme Court of Guam. A decision and order from Superior Court Judge Michael Bordalio states that as it stands, Torrey is presently charged with neglect, negligent homicide, and aggravated assault, both with the special allegation attached. Torrey remained released on the same conditions he was initially released on. But according to the court's analysis, Torrey faced much more serious crimes when the court first determined his conditions of release. citing that while Tory is still charged with 2 severe violent crimes, he is no longer charged with murder, manslaughter, or aggravated assault. Notwithstanding the less severe charges currently against Tory, Judge Bordalio has ordered to keep Tory on house arrest. However, third-party custodians will no longer need to supervise him when he is confined within the home. The bail requirement of $165,000 is now vacated, and the property bond will be returned. In its place, a $10,000 unsecured bond has been set as bail. Meanwhile, the motion to amend the indictment is still under the court's review. Keeping our eye on crime, a man is behind bars after he allegedly took advantage of a woman while she was incapacitated. The victim told police that she had been cooking dinner when she felt her body go limp. Feeling weak, the victim had to be assisted to shower and dress and then was left in a bedroom to rest. It was during this time that police say Joseph Anthony Blas Chargaloff took advantage of the victim being unable to move. Although the victim was weak, she told police that she was still aware of her surroundings and recounted that Chargaloff had entered the room, and after taking a shower and dressing, he then turned to the victim and removed her clothing. Court documents detail that Chargaloff exposed her private parts before sniffing the victim's neck and kissing her. Chargaloff then opened her legs and continued kissing her on the neck, only stopping when the victim was able to gather her strength and push the defendant off. Based on the allegations, Chargaloff was charged with 2 counts of attempted 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct and harassment, both as misdemeanors. In other news, Guam's senior citizen centers are in need of repairs, and the Mayor's Council of Guam, the agency which has purview over most of these facilities, is seeking ADLUB's help in fixing the problem. During the last council meeting this week, Robert Lizamo, who serves as the special assistant to the governor, assured the mayors around $20,000 has been allocated for each center during the current fiscal year. The funding may be used to repair roof leaks, aircon systems, or for repainting the facilities. For the incoming fiscal year, the council requested more than $200,000 to fund repairs and maintenance of the centers. According to the council, the current state of the centers requires an infusion of funds. The council said it intends to distribute $20,000 to each of the 12 centers to ensure at least a minimum amount of funds to cover for repairs and refurbishment.
Governor Lulian Guerrero, of course, had started and engaged the mayor's involvement through a quarterly meeting, and on our first quarter meeting, the director of the Mayor's Council of Guam, Angel Subalan, had asked the governor for support for our senior citizen centers.
There are 11 citizen centers under the responsibility of the Mayor's Council. Public Health manages only 1 senior citizen center. Well, coming up next on News First, ADLUB says that those waiting for tax refunds won't have to wait much longer. We'll tell you why. And the Island Music Awards are happening this weekend. We get a sneak peek on what to expect right after the break, so stay with us.